Hype's new girl group New Jeans just debuted with the youngest member being only 14 years old. But a discussion has started. Why are the companies trying to debut as young member as possible? I'll be discussing my issues with the trend and why is this rising. As most of the stuff about this is complicated, it's not as simple as it seems. There has always been concerns regarding child abuse in the entertainment industry, and with each young idol debuting sparks the same debate. Is this legal? Many laws are constantly being made and reformed for kids in entertainment industries. The main question is, should idols who are 14 or 15 be allowed to debut? According to Korean law, no child under 15 or in exceptional cases under 13 is allowed to work. Those between 15 to 18 can only work 40 hours in a week, and under 15 should not work more than 35 hours a week. And children under 18 cannot work between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. That was the main reason why Twice had to perform early in Mamas, as Choi and Chaeyoung were under 18 at that time. Korean laws also prohibit any idols under 18 to be sexualized. So, as per the law is concerned, idols debuting at the age of 14 are totally legal, but if they do it with certain precautions, it might affect kids' growth. There are still issues like starting work at this age might affect their growth and development, which is a valid argument. Adolescents have growth spurts and they develop both mentally and physically during this period. So, working at this age might actually affect their growth, but we should also keep in mind that this isn't something abnormal for people in Asia and specifically in South Korea. Teenagers spend hours after school in coaching centers and work till night, so working till 10 is normal for them. They have to go through it idle or not. The second issue is these kids have to deal with seniors all the time. Everyone who is working with them is older than them, and in Asian households, you have to behave a certain way with your seniors. Kids cannot feel comfortable in a workplace with adults. They cannot be vocal about issues they are having with seniors easily. They cannot give any creative advice regarding their projects, which kills the whole point of being an artist. It affects their mental health. Being an idol is very demanding job. You have to work at odd hours. You have to look a certain way, talk a certain way, behave like grown adults. You have to be in front of camera many hours a day. Your every move is being monitored by thousands of people out there, and many of them will like to have opinions about you, which obviously give normal human beings a lot of stress. It is a valid argument that these idols volunteered to be in this field, but dealing with this amount of attention is one hell of a task, and it drains you both emotionally and physically. We have cases like this in pretty much every industry out there where celebrities couldn't deal with their public persona and were left no choice than to harm themselves. We have other examples like Taemin and Boa. Boa debuted at the age of 13. She herself stated how pressured she was during her debut, how painful it was to start her career. Taemin is another example. Taemin debuted in China at the age of 14. He recently started his military service but was transferred to public service due to his worsening anxiety. This can happen to anybody, but your mental stability has a lot to do with your occupation. The more stressful your job is, the more likely you are to ruin your mental health. Exposing kids to such kind of toxic environment will definitely affect their lives negatively in long term. Kids are not mature enough to make these decisions about themselves. While legally speaking, an 18-year-old is mature enough to make decisions about their lives, but scientifically, human brains fully develops at the age of 25. But here we are having kids make life decisions at 12, 13 and are persuaded to start earning at 14. They were willing to do it, but it maybe would have been different if they were given some extra time to think about it. They might be getting abused by their parents. This might not be true for every idol out there. Most of them are from happy families and they wanted to be here. But there might be some parents who are forcing their kids to be in this industry to earn for them. Most of these teenagers don't deal with finances themselves. They might be managed by their parents. With their debut at age 14, they will have at least 4 years of their earnings managed by adults in their lives, which make them susceptible to abuse by parents and guardians. Again, this is not the case with most of idols. The main issue with kids working in this industry is that they might be sexually and physically abused by their employers and people working with them. Yes, laws exist to prevent this from happening, but we have a lot of examples where companies are making their idols do stuff that is totally inappropriate for their age. I still remember the incident with Fanatics, which seemed like the CEO was hitting them and trying to sexualize them in a real life. So it's very likely that he does the same or even worse when cameras are not around. Doa was 16 at that time, and Doa is working with them since she was 14. This is just on the surface. Deep down, there may be prostitution circuits going on which we'll never get to know. They don't get a chance to socialize and make friends like normal teenagers. They don't get to live their teenage years and do normal stuff, and if in case they don't succeed in their career, they might have to readjust in their environment, which might be very difficult for them. Because, first of all, living all that glamorous world to live like normal people is already pretty hard for them. And above that, they won't have enough relationships that would have helped them to adjust in their surroundings because they spent all their youth for their careers. It's understandable that people are concerned about new genes. 90% of the group consists of minors, but company is going with chic and mature style to appeal more to younger generation. They are doing it because it's trendy at the moment and people no longer want to see cute concepts anymore. They are more likely to incline towards a girl crush group. I don't want to believe in conspiracy theories like they are probably doing it to engage a certain demographic because it's too disturbing for me to talk about. But the good thing is that Hype is trying to keep it as low as possible. They are giving them appropriate clothes and choreographies. But there still might be some issues with it. No matter what they do, if they are going with girl crush style, they are going to do more and more mature concepts and eventually get sexualized for it. Even with current songs, most of the outfits were appropriate, but some were definitely concerning. Additionally, the whole image the group is projecting is not so teen crush. It was hard for me to believe the first time that these are mostly kids way younger than me, even though I am not that old. So, are companies doing it on purpose to attract unwanted attention for their groups? Maybe or maybe not. We cannot say that for sure that companies are purposely doing it to gain attention among questionable audiences. While K pop is all glittery on the surface, it also has some abhorrent incidents attached to it. This might be true a lot of the time. The reason behind teenagers debuting is because K pop is getting bigger and bigger and more mainstream than it was ever in the past. So lots of kids get influenced by it and being idols become their passion. And the competition tightens, and with dance academies, singing school, kids are learning necessary skills at a very young age. And they are already talented enough to debut at the age of 14. My final thoughts about this whole situation is while companies might have their reasons and they probably are not doing with any bad intentions, there still should be some rules and regulation about age limits in the industry. 14 is too young for them to debut. Nowhere in the world kids are allowed to work at this young age except in entertainment industries because we get entranced by all that glitters in that world and don't object on that. Kids that age should study. They should live their lives as kids and enjoy their teenage years with friends and making lots of memories. They might train in the companies as some extracurricular activity, but they should never be allowed to turn this into a full time job. They should never be exposed to dangers of society and internet. They should only be allowed to do it when they are mature enough to understand what they are signing up for. Even the most successful artists out there would have preferred to debut at an older age. Even with boys, 10 years are enough to establish your career even if you debut at 18. As with the current wave going on in K pop, chances are this is not going to stop anytime soon. The least we can do is to voice our concerns about the issue and keep raising awareness about it as much as possible.